chapter 14 of Jesus' life story. And it reads, a man with dropsy healed. With dropsy? Yeah. A man with dropsy healed on the Sabbath. Now it happened, as he went into the house of one of the rulers of the Pharisees to eat bread on the Sabbath, that they watched him closely. And behold, there was a certain man before him who had dropsy. I don't know if it's dropsy or droopsy. I think it's dropsy. But I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it before. And Jesus answering spoke to lawyers and Pharisees, saying, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? And they kept silent, and he took to him and healed him, and let him go. Then he answered him, saying, which of you having a donkey or an ox that has fallen into a pit will not immediately pull him out of the Sabbath day? And they could not answer him regarding these things. Take the lowly place. So he told the parable to those who were invited, when he noted how they chose the best place, to saying to them, when you are invited by anyone to a wedding feast, do not sit down in the best place, lest one more honorable than you be invited by him. And he who has invited you and him come to say to you, give place to this man, and then you begin with shame to take the lowest place. But when you are invited, to go sit down in the lowest place, so that when he who invited you comes, he who may say to you, friend, go up higher. Then you will have glory in the presence of those who sit at the table with you. For whoever exalts himself will be abashed, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. Then he who said to him who invited him, when you give a dinner or a supper, do not ask your friends or brothers or relatives, nor your rich nor neighbors, lest they also invite you back to be repaid. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the maimed, the lame, and the blind, and then you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you, for you shall be repaid at the resurrection of the just. The parable of the great supper. Now when one of those who sat at the table with him heard these things, he said to him, blessed is he who shall eat bread in the kingdom of God. Then he said to him, a certain man gave a great supper, invited many, and sent his servant supper time to say to those who were invited, come, for all things we are now ready. But they all with one accord began to make excuses. The first said to him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must go see it. I ask you may excuse me. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I'm going to test them. I ask you to have me excused. Still another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. So the servant came and reported these things to his messenger. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in here the poor, and the maimed, and the lame, and the blind. And then the servant said, Master, it is done as you commanded, and they are still in this room. Then the master said to the servant, go out to the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, as that my house be filled. Whew. For I say to you that none of those men were invited shall taste my supper. Leaving all to follow Christ. And with great multitudes went with him, and he turned and said to him, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, his own also, cannot be my disciples. And whoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, intending to build a tower, do not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all he has to do is begin to mock him. Saying this man began to build and was not able to finish, or asking what the king is going to make or war against another king, does not sit down first and consider whether he is able then 10,000s to meet him who comes against him to 20,000. Or else, while the other is still a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks about conditions of the peace. So likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all that he has all that he cannot be my disciple. Tasteless salt is worthless. Salt is good, but if the salt has lost its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is neither fit for the land or for the dunghill, but men throw it out. He who has ears to hear him, let him hear. Well, that's chapter 14. This is not going to get easier to read by any means, but I'm doing it. So that's chapter 14. Thank you for tuning in and sticking with me. See you tomorrow, 3 p.m., same time, same place for chapter 15.